welcome to another episode of The Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. Today, my guest is Karen Asp. She is an award-winning journalist, author, vegan, athlete, Nordic Walking world record holder, fitness pro, eco-minded yogi. She's a fur mom, world traveler, animal shelter volunteer, birder, pianist, bookworm, and more. Stick around. I'd like to introduce her to you. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Hi, Nancy. I'm great. How are you?
I am doing awesome. Now, tell me, how's the weather out in Indiana where you're at right now?
Well, it's actually pretty sunny. If I look outside, it's sunny, a little windy, and it's, in the upper 50s. So it's not terribly bad.
Okay, here is the same, sunny, a little windy, but more in the 70s range. So I'm not complaining. So let's get to it. Tell me your journey into veganism, if you don't mind.
No, not at all, Nancy. So it started about 20 years ago, and I'll do this real quickly, but the thing that really kicked it off, and this is kind of a strange situation, is I had a weird fainting incident. And the fainting incident, which they never found out why I fainted, and 30% of all fainting cases never have a cause. I was hydrated, I was et cetera, all that. Just fainted, fell straight back. I was at a business meeting, clunked my head on the floor, and had a skull fracture as a result and a concussion. During that time, I actually lost my taste and smell for a little bit. And I remember it was about a week. I had already been kind of on the clean eating pattern of not like eating red meat and things like that. I was in the fitness world, and so we were talking all about clean eating. But anyway, I was at a restaurant with my husband that next, like 2 weeks later, and I was still kind of headachy and all this sort of stuff. And I couldn't taste. They served me a steak. Hadn't eaten steak in a very long time, but all I could think about, Nancy, when I put that piece of steak in my mouth, it didn't have any taste. All I could think about was, oh my, I am chewing just dead carcass. That was like kind of the first thing that just kind of tipped it off. Like that just took me out of the realm of like, what am I doing? Especially because I had always been an animal lover. But right after that, we went, my husband and I went to Austria and went hiking. And when you'd go hiking in, Europe, you often hear, you see the cows if you're up high, and they're often grazing in the grass and things like that. And I love talking to animals, and I had been hearing a cowbell in the distance. And so as we got closer and closer and I saw the cow, went up to this cow, and basically right then and there made a pact with the cow and said, I will never eat you or your friends again. I'm done with this. And that led to, it was a slow step. So it was take out all meat, then the fish, and then the dairy. So that was 20 years ago that I stepped into vegetarianism, and then I went into pescatarian. And then finally about 12 years ago, it was veganism. And it's something that I will, forever be grateful for.
Awesome. That is awesome. And you are a vegan coach. You're also an author, and you also contribute to several magazines, including Forks Over Knives. Is that correct?
That's true, Nancy. Yeah, so I like to spread the plant-based message and really talk to people about veganism, whether it's through working with them one-on-one or working with them through my writing. So I get a lot of people who see my writing in Forks Over Knives or Sentient Media or thebeat.com or Veg News, things like that, other magazines as well. But those are where you'll find the really strong vegan articles. But they'll connect with me and say, oh, Karen, I love seeing this, but I have a question about, what's your favorite vegan cheese or something like that. So it's a really great way to get the word out and to keep spreading the message about why it's so important to consider this lifestyle.
That is great. And you have a website with information as well, right? And a blog.
I do, Nancy. So the website is just karenasp.com, and people can find me there. They can read a lot of the work. I need to update it, but they can read my work. They can find my contact information, and I'm really active on Twitter and Instagram too, putting out all of the, studies on this and that, and sharing recipes and all that good stuff.
Awesome. And you are a fur mom.
I am a fur mom. So I know that, I've got a dog and a cat, and I've also got a foster dog who happens to be she's my first foster dog because of the pandemic. I was able to I'm not traveling. I used to be on the road every 2 to 3 weeks. And that's kind of stopped for now. So it was a time to be able to foster. And not only is she my first foster dog, but she's also a paralyzed pity mix. So she is in a wheelchair, and it's been just an amazing journey. She's been with me now for almost 9 months. We're taking her through more water therapy to get her ready for adoption.
Wow. Yeah. I I had my my little girl, canine girl, Arwen, and she ruptured a disc, and she had to be on one of those wheelchairs, and it just broke my heart. But she's passed now, but she was the love of my heart. She really was. She just was. She was full of life. She was just. They're just adorable, and they're just loving and unconditional. And I just wanted to be the same for her.
I agree, Nancy. It's hard to imagine a life. For me, it's hard to imagine a life without animals. And that's, in all honesty, when I was, again, making this connection with move to veganism, it was kind of like I always loved animals. But really, when I looked at it, I always loved cats and dogs. And until I took the other animals off the plate, did I really become an animal lover? Because how could I just love my cat and dog, but yet eat pigs and cows and chickens and turkeys? That's how I grew up. I grew up with the standard American diet. So it's definitely, now I can say that I am a true animal lover because they are friends, not food for me. So
I grew up in that same sad diet, standard American diet. And, and I loved animals, and I thought I was an animal lover. And I really didn't make the connection until 8 years ago. I finally connected those two things. And then that's when I decided, okay, I'm vegan. I did not go trial, whatever. I just like, okay. And it was like, why didn't I see this before? It's like society just conditions you to not even think about it, and you think you're something, but you're not. Like, I thought I was an animal lover, but really I was a pet lover of
right,
certain pets, cats and dogs.
right, me too.
So, uh, and
It's
and now
definitely,
tell me, you're also athlete, right? And you are a Nordic walking world record holder.
yeah. So Nordic walking is a really interesting sport for those people who have never heard of it. It is dry land. Essentially, it's dry land training for cross country skiing. That's how it started. But
Okay.
it's also now mainstream. And so you could do it as, you know, fitness enthusiasts use it. You don't have to be a cross country skier, but it's basically walking with specially designed poles. You don't need snow. You don't have skis on your feet. You just have, your running or walking shoes, whichever you prefer. And you're walking with poles, and it's faster than a lot of people try to do fitness walking, which is fantastic when they want to pick up the pace a little bit. It's really, really hard biomechanically to move fast on your own, unless you're race walking, which is a very different. Race walkers can certainly walk faster than I can Nordic walk, but I can walk faster than fitness walkers. And in many cases, like in many of the events I've been in, I'm often lumped in with the runners. And I'll be, passing a lot of runners. Now, these are not the top speed runners. I can run faster than I can Nordic walk, but it's just a fantastic workout. It's kind of silly. You have poles, but it's a full body workout, and it's low impact, but it can be as high intensity as you'd like it to be. So it's a really fantastic sport to get into in the spring and the summer all year.
Awesome. So I'm going to have information about your website on on the Vegan Pulse, and share all that. But I am coming to you, and I'm not vegan, and you're a vegan coach, and I say I like to be vegan. What will you tell me?
Well, I would say, first of all, why? What's your reason for being vegan? I think the biggest thing that people get messed up on is they don't understand the why. And it's the why that drives really everything that we do. It's the same thing when I'm designing, let's say, fitness programs for people. Why do you want to exercise? There's no right or wrong answer, but I'd like to have that person identify the why. So that's really my first thing, because it's very easy to get pulled away, especially in this world where being vegan is not the majority of people. We hope that it will be eventually, but right now it's not. And so if you don't have that why, it's going to be very easy for you to get pulled into the old habits. So my first thing would be to say, okay, why do you want to be vegan? Second thing would be, Where are you right now? What are you eating? What are you doing? How much of a shift are you willing to do right now? Maybe are you willing to do one breakfast a week? One day a week? Where are you right now? What are you eating? So there are a lot of questions, but the most important thing is really for me to identify the why behind the reason for wanting to go this. And then that opens up avenues to figure out what to do next.
That is awesome. That is exactly it. Without the why, without knowing why you're doing it, you just fall in and out of stuff. Well, Karen, thank you so very much for being on the Vegan Pulse. I surely enjoyed this time with you and your story.
Oh, me too, Nancy. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks everybody for listening. And yeah, please find me. I'm happy to always answer questions about anything we talked about here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. Remember to follow us on Facebook, check out our website, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You don't want to miss an episode. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Live vegan.